Hello, my name is Erica Shea, and you are tuned into Slay, where each week you and I turn our attention inward and reflect on ideas intended to help move you into a state of inspiration and empower you to take decisive, proactive action toward achieving your goals and reaching your highest potential. This is episode number 12, and today we are talking about self concept, a super important topic to get into since it determines how we think, how we feel, and how we act, all of which determine the results of our lives. If you are ready to create deep, lasting change and truly become the best version of yourself, then this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Dr. Joe Dispenza is quoted as saying, "Our personality creates our personal reality." So, to change our personal reality, we must change our personality. We must choose entirely different ways of thinking, doing, and being to create entirely new results because old ways of thinking, doing, and being will only continue to produce the same results. When you look at your life, do you feel satisfied with the results? I know that this is a question I ask a lot, but I honestly feel that it's a question that can never get old because every single day presents new challenges and we have to hold ourselves accountable to showing up the way that we want. And so it's a good question. Do you feel happy with the current results in your life? Einstein is quoted as saying, "We cannot solve our problems from the same thinking used to create them." Meaning, a higher level of consciousness must be achieved. But how do we get that? If we are not happy with the current circumstances of our lives, but we are producing it, how do we become that better version of ourselves to change that? It helps to have a measure, a baseline understanding of who you are, how you influence your environments, both external and internal. This is where self concept comes into play. Self concept is the mental image that you have of who you are. It includes the learned beliefs, attitudes, and opinions that you have decided to be true about all that is you, all of which determine how you present to the world around you, the action that you take or don't take, and ultimately the quality of life that you live. Think of your life as a reflection of your mind. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as peaceful or agitated, intuitive or confused, pleasant or hostile, powerful or powerless? Now, I'll ask you again, how do you see your life? Do any of those emotions that I just listed resonate with what's happening around you in the external world? All of those emotions that I listed, which to be clear are produced by thinking on thoughts long enough to where they elicit a reaction in your body. They produce a state of mind, meaning they affect your mood, be it good, bad, useful, or not. And your mood is what affects your behavior. Sometimes it's temporary and short lived, but for many people, especially when they get in moods for extended amounts of time and they find themselves in that mood just over and over, the emotion goes from mood to temperament, meaning the quality of the emotion becomes a part of the personality. So, for example, say someone was let go from their job and they become sad. They start to question their worth and doubt their abilities. This rumination gets them in a mood, right? We all have moods, we've all been there. A friend finds out and they're like, "Oh, hey, well, I know someone who's looking for someone with your skills, and I think it could be a great fit, actually. Why don't I connect you guys?" The thought of the opportunity shifts them from a mood of sadness to optimism. So that mood, it's gone, which is great. However, say they didn't have any friends with those connections, they weren't having the best of luck finding a new job. They took it personally. Anytime they were passed over, they were beating themselves up. They continued to just think disempowering thoughts. Maybe a year goes by. Now they're actually depressed. It is incredibly challenging for them to find the energy to try to put one foot in front of the other. They feel worthless, and it is reflected in how they show up in the world. How they are feeling internally, it is reflected in their external world. They have embodied the emotion of depression, and now it is what they are getting back. They're struggling And I think it's super important to remember words are so powerful. And even if there are things you are not speaking out loud, how you talk to yourself, it matters just as much as the thoughts that you think. And I don't know if you have ever experienced depression, but when you feel like shit, it is hard to think about anything outside of just the shitty feelings. And you may even say something like, I honestly, I feel like shit. I don't have the energy to do anything. Everything fucking sucks. Which, if you think about it, it only reinforces the shitty feeling. Because now, by saying, I feel, whatever, you're programming your mind and your body to feel like shit. You're also telling the universe to give you more of that suck that you were talking about because of the emotion and the belief in that thought. You're embodying that, and that's what you're thinking about, just like we discussed in episode 10 when we talked about manifestation. If we want to create change, we have to transform who we are being, meaning we have to change how we think, how we act, and how we feel. Last episode, we discussed changing limiting paradigms, your limiting beliefs. We talked about identifying thoughts and actions that hold you back and how to begin to disrupt and break those patterns. Building off of that discussion, the next thing that you could do to give yourself your best chance of reaching success and improving the quality of your life is to create a blueprint for this new version of you that you will need to become in order to create new results in your life. For this, you would need to get your journal, just like before, and reflect on what thoughts this new you puts their energy behind. What does she like to think about? What is her attitude towards herself, towards her family, to others? What are things that she would say to herself? So, for example, she likes to think about her well being. She likes to think about things that inspire her. She's calm and loving with a warm nature. She reminds herself of how powerful she is and that she can do anything that she puts her mind to. Reflect on how she carries herself. How does she respond to stress or new situations? How does she talk about herself? How does she address others? What's her energy like? What would you feel around her? What would you feel as her? So, for example, she's confident and collected. She walks with her chest open, her shoulders back, her head is up, her gaze is forward, her arms are at her side. She responds to new situations with curiosity and stress with discernment. Her energy is vibrant and magnetic. She feels like the sun. Use your imagination, but get very clear because when you have gotten clear on the thoughts and actions that no longer serve you, like we discussed last episode, and you can hold the vision of this new ideal that you just outlined in your mind, the more you will slowly but surely become her. But you can't just hold the vision, you have to choose her. The key to making this work is your self awareness and self commitment. Like, it cannot be stressed enough. You have to decide that your current thoughts and behaviors are literally, they're no longer acceptable because you know that in order to achieve better results, which right now is not it, then what's showing up for you right now, it's got to change. It's got to be different. So you've got to show up better if you want better. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is the literal definition of insanity. We all know it. We've heard it. Devise your design. You, this person that you are to become, and make a conscious, deliberate choice repeatedly to choose her until your desired behaviors become an automatic part of you. Commit to the work, stay focused on the process rather than the time, and remember, everyone struggles, but we get to choose our hard. So will you struggle in vain or will you struggle in purpose? If you enjoyed this episode, please share it in your IG story and tag me at Erica Shea. If you are not on social but would still like to connect, you are welcome to write to me via email instead at slay@ericashea.com. I love knowing what content or ideas that you find most valuable. Until next time, continue to show up for yourself in a major